Okay guys, hello. We are now ready to create our 1-inch grid on our 8.5 by 11 80-pound paper. All right. This grid will help us to create our scale drawing. Our drawing will be going over this grid, so you want to draw the grid lightly enough that as we go we can erase it, because you don't want the grid to show up in your finished artwork. You can see in the parts of this portrait that I've already drawn, I've erased the grid, and I would continue with that as I go. And this is the grid, that the squares that this is based off of, and we'll talk more about this later. The first step is for us to get our gridded paper ready. Now, 8.5 by 11 is the size that we need. This paper doesn't come as 8.5 by 11, so I've cut it down for you. So be mindful that it's not going to come from the regular paper cubbies. There's a special cubby, I'll show you where it is, where this paper comes from, and a 1-inch grid. So that's what we need to do. Your ruler person will get rulers for your team, and I just wanted to quickly show you that different rulers, 0 will start in different places. So on this ruler, 0 starts right there. On this one, it starts right at the edge of the ruler, and on this one, it starts at the edge of these. Are the same. So, all right. So just be mindful about your ruler for where 0 starts. Sometimes it's the edge of the ruler, sometimes it's not. And I think it's easier for you to see this this one. So I'm going to use this. Now, the first step for creating this grid is that we are going to mark each 1 inch. Okay, so I'm holding my ruler, I've got it lined up here on the edge, and we're going to do this close to the top. All right, and I'm doing the length, or the longest side of my paper first, the 11 inches. So I'm going to go through and mark 1, 2, 3, 4. Just put a light mark, and because we're going to want to erase this grid, you do want these marks to be light, and I don't need to mark 11. All right, so I'm just lightly marking. I'm moving my ruler down, and I'm doing the exact same thing again, marking at each inch. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so now I have my measurement marks on both sides, and now I can use my ruler as a straight edge to draw a straight line all the way across. So I'll just make sure that my little marks are right there. Then I'm going to hold my ruler still with one hand and use my other hand to lightly draw a line all the way across. I'm not pressing hard with my pencil, because again, I want these lines to be light. Lining up those little marks, holding my ruler still, and lightly going across. I'm going to do this all the way down my paper. And I believe, I'll let you watch one more time, and then I'll go into fast forward. Okay, so I'm going to finish doing this. Okay, now you can see I have those lines. So I'm halfway done, maybe even more than halfway. I now need to create the lines going this way to create my 1-inch grid. So I'm going to turn my paper and line my ruler up here. I think I can zoom in a little bit more. Now, the paper is 8.5 inches by 11. I'm going to autofocus and see if there we go. So you can see 8.5 inches. This is where my half is. All right, so we're not going to be able to get a full inch on the grid over here. That's fine. We'll go ahead though and start by marking each inch, just like we did before, lightly making a mark at each inch. And then I'm going to leave that ½ inch there. Now, what's important on this side is that you don't flip your paper over, because if I flip it and then start from this edge, my 1 inch over here would be lining up with my ½ inch here, and I don't want that. So don't flip your paper. When you do this, just move your paper forward and then make your marks at this end. And that way you make sure that your ½ inch portion is on the same side. Otherwise, all your lines will be crooked. All right, so you can see there's my little ½ inch mark here, and then here it is again here. Now for this, I'm going to do the exact same thing, lining these up. Let me zoom out a little bit so you'll be able to see this. I'm lining these up using my ruler as a straight edge, and I'll draw these lines all the way across. And again, I believe I can go into fast forward to do this. Okay, I now have my paper totally gridded. The final step for today is to first, I guess, let's put our name on the back. All of these at this point will look the same, so we definitely want to have our names on them, all right? And now what we can do is, actually we can go ahead and do this, or you could wait and do this next week. I'm going to go ahead and label my grid, and I'm going to put numbers on the side and letters across the top. So it's going to be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, ending with I, and then down, A and 1 being the same square, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm drawing these lightly too because I'll erase this when I'm done. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, and that will help us so that when you're drawing this square, you'll know that square 4E. And we'll talk more about this later. Our goal today, guys, is to get this done. And once you get this done, I'm going to give each of you, whether you get it done or not actually, I'm going to give you a folder that you will be able to keep your grids in. If it doesn't fit in, this is because we'll have a couple little different pieces when we're working on this, and we want to keep it safe. It's not going to fit in as easily this way. If you can get it in this way without bending your paper, fine, but it's fine for you to leave it this way. And this will just keep all of our stuff organized, so when we have our viewfinders and our photographs, it'll be easier for our team folder people just to pass out our own little packet. So you can save that in there, and that will be it for today. All right. If you need help, your teammates can help you. I'll replay the video, and of course, I'll be available to help you as well. All right, guys, enjoy.